When I first started living at Caroline W. Apartments in Seattle on Capitol Hill, I had been homeless, though still cognizant and aware. Even though I was assaulted, arguably brutally, by an African man who worked for Abdul, who sold drugs on Queen Anne. And now I have a freedom from a previous owner finally leaving a body to a human who has compassion for those who suffer now. And the strength and the audacity to say, the most dominant when I moved in was a man with dreadlocks downstairs and a race described by Antifa and Black Lives Matter and philosophy and theory as a person, a colonizer, abused. And aside from downstairs where there was an Army veteran and a man who would dominate spontaneously when I check my mail, unannounced now. Next door in 509, there was loud rave techno music and banging on my wall, although then a quiet tapping and then an eventual microphone screaming and yelling and banging on a drum about a devil. Another person in the world in the middle of the night was saying, similar to Hail Hitler, I heard, in their home. These two humans, when I moved in, along with the second United States Army veteran who kicked my door nearly off the hinges, who said when I held my knife I was cooking with when he was slamming and banging and kicking, I was going to kill and murder and slaughter an entire building where he lived and has lived since the beginning when a house was built with rooms in a hotel where he resides now. And after the police left and after the firemen and firewoman and the gender neutral service transgender humans were done with their investigations, I put a Maltese cross on my door. I put a chaplain's cross on my door, although I had to remove the blue in case they came knocking again with a gun or a knife, a fist, and a weapon. I put an essential sticker for a worker during a coronavirus pandemic. I had nannied for Oliver Nola the day the sickness got worse, and had been on call for some time afterwards to make sure their father and mother had what they needed to survive going forward now. I put a United States Army chaplain sticker on my door. I put Schrodinger's equation on my door. I put E equals MC squared on my door. I put a paratrooper who rescues those injured in battle helicopter on my door. I put an infinity sign on my door. I put a cube on my door to help with those who were lost and who needed their stimulation peacefully. I put nearly $1,000 in stickers on my door, and I'm still locked in my home by a landlord I hear whispering and using their voice next door, or some other mysterious stranger who seems to like and enjoy echoing, a cancer survivor who's mildly autistic now. I told those who I met, who I provided some cannabis and explanations for my rowdiness, and heard their stories about their addictions and their emotion. And I've done what I could until those examples were replaced and new revolutionary soldiers and warriors arrived, ready for battle, ready for confusion and misdirection and anarchy. And although my poem began slowly, my end has to come quickly, or else they'll come knocking and banging, threatening and assaulting and harassing. A snitch rat, they say, is a bitch. They say they have children often, and often when they call me a bitch, they're wearing a Captain America shirt with a woman also by their side now. And so I, a new owner of this body, who's a human, lives not only in silence and quiet, fear of what damage they will do next to my body I have inherited from a human who left on a UFO with some aliens. Awareness. On this earth, this object I now inhabit, are worse than a black hole, where there's no concentration and focus similar to here on earth to race and theory and philosophy and mathematical logic involving deception, confusion, and anarchy. There's a genocide, there's a Holocaust, there's an ethnic cleansing, and a lot worse. Uyghur Muslims, Tibetans told not to have prayer flags, North Koreans eating dog meat, Iranians executing wrestlers, and here in the United States of America, a white described color a reason for an execution by lethal injection called a drug addiction, methamphetamine crack, fentanyl pill with some heroin, in a gas chamber when they bring their propane tank to my door and fill my room when I'm asleep with death, dying, and justice for their cause, fixing and solving climate change for those children I cared for when their parents made money to feed their mouths and give them energy and consciousness Now.